Hey everybody, how's it going?
How's it going, everyone? We weren't necessarily going to make this video, but a couple things happened, or one major thing happened about 2 hours ago, and this was pretty major. Ashlyn released a statement addressing, the cheating rumors, addressing a lot of things, all of it. But I guess, let's go back, Once it was announced that they were separating and divorcing, and the news was out that she was dating Sophia Bush, there had been cheating rumors, and then obviously we remember Ali posted about the Lemonade era, but Ashlyn was still kind of posting after that. She did lose followers. She did post stories and things. She posted the kids, and then she was posting like a lot of like quotes. Did you see that where she was posting? I didn't screen cap any of them. I think I have one screen cap that I found on a message board, so maybe I'll put that one. But she was posting a lot of quotes that made it seem like it was in reference to like everything that was going on, like don't treat other people the way you don't want to be treated. I don't know if that was the quote, but things like that.
And I also noticed she disabled her comment section, which, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm surprised it kind of took so long for her to disable them because she was getting a lot of comments. Then I think she had them limited, and then recently she completely disabled them. So she had been on social media. She wasn't shying away from everything that was going on because, as we know, Krieger was everywhere. I mean, Krieger could not be more places right now.
She was even in my dreams. I wish. No. Yeah, I saw her at Raising Cane's. I mean...
CNN. I saw her in
CNN. Mm-hmm. Everywhere. She's everywhere.
Yeah. So she's everywhere, obviously, because Gotham won. Obviously, she's with her Gotham teammates, but she's also by herself places, too. So she is everywhere. But, Ashlyn decided to release a statement, and it was pretty long. I'm going to have Sara read some of it, but we're going to talk a little bit about it because Ashlyn, decided to speak on it.
Yeah, I wondered when and if they were going to talk about it.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So I'm not sure when Allie will or if she will, but it seems like Ashlyn is ready to address things. Several weeks ago, a process that had been ongoing privately for some time became public, ending our relationship after almost 13 years of friendship, teammateship, marriage, and co-parenting, many of them good years. A decision that was not made lightly. We agreed to center our children, continue therapy, separate, and to move forward with our lives. 2 happy families are always better than 1 unhappy one. This process is never easy, but we were making our way through. At the advice of our agents, representation, and friends, we plan to keep this information private until her final season. A leak, a betrayal of our deepest confidence, made that impossible. The online hate that has happened since has been one of the most personally devastating experiences of my life. Now, I know that this is the best practice of the world of online gossip, not to feed the beast, don't respond, don't let them see you sweat. Just hide away the tabloid until the tabloids and internet trolls decide to feast on someone else. For weeks, I have tried to take this advice. I've tried to let the fire burn out, and what I've experienced has devastated my mental health. This has been brutal. Words matter. The cheering on abuse, the people clamoring to encourage me to commit suicide, and the cruel words spoken about my children and who I am as a mother, those words matter. Someday my kids are going to be able to read the hate that strangers on the internet wrote, all because those strangers had an unsolicited opinion on my health and happiness. What are we doing here? People have run with a narrative that's unbearably painful. Not all marriages last forever. Ours did not, for many reasons. And while I understand that the false narratives about why might feel juicier or make a better headline, they're simply not true. Let me be clear. I did not step out on my marriage. I was always faithful in my marriage, if not always totally happy. Like in many partnerships, there was work and therapy and processing done. None of this happened on a whim. We spent the entire summer working to tackle the separation and divorce steps outlined for us by our therapists, lawyers, and our shared agency. By finally choosing my own health and happiness, I know I've chosen a better future for my kids. What's made this complex and difficult experience harder than I could have imagined is to have had the entire community turn on me while I've been moving through this. I've spent my whole career trying to build an inclusive space where people can show up as themselves and know and where they know they will be safe. That legacy has mattered to me more than anything I ever did on the pitch. Right now, it feels like the entire community has poured gasoline on me and lit the matches. So many of you, including people who stand publicly as anti-bullying advocates, have cheered this on like a blood sport. As though a family in transition is on opposing teams. Like a divorce is a battle one person stands to win. I want to be clear that pushing someone to the edge, that isn't a win. No one wins here. My priority is, and always has been, my kids. My priority is being a good co-parent to them with Allie. Despite this current darkness, there have been years of love between us, and our kids are the best part of it all. They deserve 2 healthy and happy parents, and that's what matters most. We are all in pain. I share all of this to remind people that bullying anyone about a personal decision, especially when that bullying is rooted in lies, really hurts. I'm hoping that instead of continuing this cruelty, you can remember that the simple truth that I'm a human being, a mom, and a good person just trying my best. I'd appreciate if you could take a breath and treat me and my family with some humanity.
So Sara read the whole thing. I'm not sure how much we're going to leave in, but she said a lot there. You can tell by just the manner of which she wrote. She was just feeling like she had to say something at that point. And she definitely did.
I do think all of the bullying about whatever did happen, whatever happened, didn't happen. I think the bullying and all that stuff was a little wild and taken a little too far, maybe.
One of the very first things she said something about, first thing she kind of said, which I think sparked attention, was that at the advice of our agents, representatives, and friends, we plan to keep this information private until after her final season. A leak made that impossible, and she said a betrayal of our deepest confidence. So that makes it seem that there was a leak somewhere, whether it was her camp or Allie's camp. There was a leak. So that was kind of the first thing she said, that they were going to make it public after the season. Sara and I have still said this. Even if they were separating even if they were getting divorced, if Ashlyn wasn't part of any Allie's festivities for her last season, it would have been a distraction. I still stand by that. I said that on the very first episode that we talked about it, and I still stand by that. Either which way, it's going to be a distraction.
Yeah, I agree. It would have looked... people would have been talking no matter what. It's kind of a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, I agree.
Where no one really could win in that situation, I guess.
And then somebody made a good point on the end. If they knew that there is no way to not have a distraction, which it's going to be, maybe make an announcement at the middle of the season or the beginning of the season or in June when they decided they were separating, because that's what she says later in the piece, that they decided throughout the summer how to split things up. They decided many months ago to separate. Why not have a statement then? Hey, we're separating. We want privacy. Let's not, you know what I mean? Somebody made a good point about they could have made some type of announcement. And then so people would have been, okay, got it. Also, if they were waiting to the end of the season, Ashlyn filed in September. And that's not the end of the season either. That point was kind of confusing. She filed before the end of the season, and a leak maybe made it public, but once you file, I think it's somewhat public. There has to be a record of it, I think in Florida, especially where they filed. So that part to me kind of rang a little strange at the beginning.
So I think it would have been leaked, air quotes, leaked, no matter what the situation was.
That's a good point. So that part was, that's the part where it does seem a little strange. Also, if they decided to wait, then maybe, and they went through their agents, they went through their management, maybe they were being advised not very well. I thought about that too. Maybe the advisors, like you're saying, they could have thought this out better if they were really, since the timing was kind of through Allie's last season. A lot of people say maybe they didn't have the best advisors to advise them exactly what to do.
Yeah, some attorneys can, be kind of sneaky. So yeah, you got to watch out who you hire.
People did kind of pick up on that. And then she kind of talked about people running with the idea that she cheated. And at the very end, she said she wasn't a cheater. Obviously, we remember, Allie had the lemonade post, which seemed like, most people thought it was kind of clear what it was saying. And so that was one post. I did see this, though. That lemonade post could have just been Allie saying she felt betrayed but not cheated on. I did see that. So, someone feels betrayed, maybe just feels like they were done wrong, even if it wasn't a cheating situation. So I thought that was a good point. Maybe Allie just felt like she was done wrong. I did see that point of view, which I hadn't thought of before. Allie might have just been like, she's hurt, but not cheated on. So I did think that. Then, Allie's brother Kyle, which we've kind of been talking about, he's been kind of protecting his sister, which I understand when you have a sibling who loves their sibling. But he had said some things. Actually had this post that said,
so he posts, well, going from being blindsided by the most heartbreaking news possible days before your retirement game, to leading Gotham FC through the playoffs, to the first NWSL championship victory, it is really the most badass thing imaginable.
So at the beginning he said being blindsided, and that can mean blindsided by when she actually filed, or that could be blindsided by the fact that Ashlyn even was unhappy in the marriage. So that could actually mean a few things, which makes it seem that like Allie was blindsided in some way, kind of confirming that Allie was done wrong in some way. And he's liked posts about Ashlyn cheating too. There's this narrative out there that, yeah, Ashlyn did cheat. We haven't said, we don't know if she cheated. No one actually knows if Ashlyn cheated. And then Ashlyn goes on saying, the hate she has gotten for people in the community has been overwhelmingly, and it's pushing her to a brink. And that's kind of the point that said, community has turned on her because of these things, you know what I mean? And how it's hard for her to handle. And as a human being, I can see that, the whole community feels hurt by Ashlyn. That's why they've turned on her. And it seems like it's almost too much for Ashlyn to deal with.
Well, I think something like that is too much for anyone to deal with, because when people come for other people on the internet, I mean, they go hard. They don't hold back.
Ashlyn at the very kind of in the middle of the statement says, I did not cheat. Unequivocally says she did not cheat. And I think that's a statement that she is putting it on record. She didn't cheat. And she's making it clear that is her statement, and she's overwhelmed by all the negativity coming her way. And which, as a person, absolutely, I know people are coming hard at her. As a human, that seems overwhelmingly like, how can anyone deal with that? A lot of people who are expressing their upsetness, or however you want to say that with Ashlyn, are people who just feel like they're protecting Allie. They feel really bad for Allie because of the circumstances it looked to be. It's a really crappy situation. Especially when a lot of people are invested in the relationship and have opinions, it must be hard.
And it's hard, but like I've said before, nobody's perfect. Whatever did happen in the situation, who knows?
But I think it's just her saying, this is her piece. She has spoken out, and she is saying she did not cheat. And like I said, the lemonade era thing, what most people say are grabbing from that. I did read, maybe Allie feels betrayed, and people in the lemonade era feel betrayed. But she's speaking up, and the timeline is kind of weird. I will be honest. When I read this, a lot of it doesn't make sense. Why say you're going to separate at the beginning and then file for divorce, and then there's you know what I mean? Some of it does sound a little weird. I think people feel betrayed by Ashlyn because they feel like she hurt Allie. And it seemed like those People magazine articles came from Ashlyn's camp. And it seemed, she moved on with Sophia Bush very quickly, it seems. And if Sophia and Ashlyn really did get together at Cannes, was it one of those things where, Ashlyn calls Allie on the phone and says, hey, it's not going to work out, let's break up. And then 2 nights later, she's with Sophia Bush. I mean, maybe that's not technically cheating, but it's still, the timetable is just very strange. She's spoken her piece. And, I do think people are still going to have an opinion. I think people are still going to think she did or didn't, but she's spoken. And then at that point, if people say she's still a cheater or not a cheater, okay, you have that opinion, but the threats and the hatred, hopefully that kind of. But if people are, decide that they don't want to follow her anymore, I know she's lost a bunch of followers on Instagram, but hopefully the threats, no one's threatening her safety or anything like that. But it is hard. People feel betrayed, and she's saying, I didn't cheat. So it is definitely a she said in a sense. Maybe at one point they could come out with I guess the idea of, I heard someone say this, if they came out with a joint statement, then I think people could be like, okay, it's both of them. But I think since it's kind of she said at this point, it sucks, you know. But yeah, so did everyone see this that Ashlyn posted? And I will be 100% honest. I went on the boards and Twitter. Most people aren't
being swayed and their minds aren't changed.
Yeah. That's what I saw. For our perception online that I have been seeing is they're not swayed, that they still feel the way they feel. You know, and so I pretty much have been seeing that. It's just sad. The whole thing is, and obviously, hopefully they can co-parent, but you know what I will say? I can't think of, I think out of 100 marriages, one is maybe not drama. Out of anyone who I've ever known has gotten divorced, it's messy as heck. Whether they're, I don't know any famous people, but if they're regular people or famous people, it's always messy, any which way you slice it.
But one thing I did really like that she said, I really liked when she said, 2 happy families are always better than 1 unhappy family. I agree with that because it's obviously better, especially if you have children. Mm-hmm. If you're not in a happy household, it's better to separate, right. You know, whatever the story is. But I liked that. I don't know.
It's not good to have a household where 2 parents are fighting constantly. No, anyone who grew up in that household know that is not healthy. So
shout out to my parents.
Yeah,
they know what they did. They know who they are.
But what does everyone think? Ashlyn has this out, but I do think she's not swaying many fans back. It must be extra hard for Ashlyn because Allie is getting so much praise for the Gotham winning and everything. Mentally, I'm sure that's taken a huge mental toll because Allie's not going away anywhere because she's been winning. So she's getting all the admiration and all the applause and everything. And so it's people are even more so reminded. And that must be even hard for Ashlyn.
Slay, Allie.
What does everyone think? Did everyone see that? We'll see what's next for them. Hopefully they can, divorce and organize their divorce. That's a process in itself. And, I know some people have divorces go on for 10 years. Let's hope that doesn't happen because a lot of times you have to figure out the custody. That can take a long time. So let's hope for the whole family that is an okay process for them. Questions, comments down below. Did everyone see this? I wish the best for, at this point, the best for Allie, the best for Ashlyn, because that's all that can happen at this point.
And the best for the kids, obviously.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Questions, comments down below. We'll talk to everyone later. Have a great night.
Bye.